I really do think that U.S.-China relations are the most important bilateral relationship in this century. We need qualified folks on both sides who are conversant in the two languages, the two traditions, over a whole range of fields. And that's what this place does. Wherever we're headed, we go there with Nanjing University. It's the oldest, it's the most ambitious, it's the largest scale joint academic venture.
If you don't understand kind of the roots of Chinese culture, looking at any contemporary problem, you're only going to be looking at the superficial level. So we're going right down to the roots.
In our system, we always accept those authoritative versions. But Professor Moses told us not to take anything for granted, question it, and test it. That really impressed me.
Ask yourself, what is this author asking?
The language gains are enormous. I've always felt pretty confident about my Chinese language ability, but I've never really felt as challenged as I have until I came to the center. The way that you just hit the ground running and the way that you're expected to be able to discuss very serious problems in Chinese on a day-to-day basis.
I tried to stay away from the economics the first semester, just so I could ease myself into this. It's still, I mean, getting used to taking all my classes in Chinese is, it's not an easy task. And so I figured that I would go a little bit with more of my strong suit, which is cultural studies and traditional thought to begin with. And then maybe I'll ease into the economics next semester. I'm just happy because I've got Sue to help me out, and his economics knowledge is far greater than mine.
Oh, I'm flattered.
Well, you're flattered, but you know, I read your development economics paper.
When he speaks Chinese, one of my friend, when she called me and can't answer the phone, she can't figure out she's from America. She thinks she's from the north of China.
Well, you know.
Because he has got an accent of some kind of Beijing.
Yeah. Some people have told me that I sound like a Beijing street peddler in Chinese because I learned all of my Chinese bargaining for cheap wares and in the Silk Alley.
If you're just studying China and America in English, you may have a whole list of facts, and you may even be a very good analyst, but what you won't know is how the Chinese speak about these things, how the Chinese approach them. And that, I think, whether you're in business or government, whatever you're involved in with China, that is the single most important skill you can have. Understanding Chinese premises, understanding the words they use and why they use them. Here, every day, how do they talk about the Cultural Revolution? How do they talk about Confucius? How do they talk about their own economy? And of course, the same is true for the Chinese students when they study from American professors.
I think one thing they get out of it, as I think they get out of a lot of their courses, is a much better sense of how the United States works, how complicated it is trying to make something happen in the American political system, and how many different pieces have to come together, and how difficult it is to bring them together.
Special session of Congress, which of course he's entitled to do under the Constitution, right?
What they're very much conscious of is that China wants to be a real player in the world, and that the United States is the 500-pound gorilla. So you have to be able to understand the gorilla if you want to play with it.
As far as I know, there's not a second school like this in China. It's very much like a place you can watch on either side of the bridge, you know. So yeah, the experience here is, I think, is pretty precious.
I can see a clash of cultures here. It's an exchange of thoughts to see how we look at the same issue, what kind of perspectives we take, and why. And this will urge the students to reassess their nation, their culture, and even themselves.
In 1998, I studied in Beijing, and at that time, almost everybody who ran the program had come here. One of the things that interests me about China is the way that China has changed so dramatically from, you know, the 1911 revolution of Sun Yat-sen till today. It's not even been 100 years. Professor Liu is very honest. He speaks from his head and from his heart. He can not only tell you the history, but he can also tell you what it was like to be there, what he knew and when he knew it, and how the society has really changed since then. He also uses examples a lot. This is how the interaction between Mao Zedong, Liu Shaoqi, and Zhou Enlai was during these years. And he loves questions.
The seminar approach is used constantly here at the center, and we bring in visiting speakers from China, from the rest of the world, visitors from the United States to talk about U.S.-China relations, the Chinese economy, the U.S. economy, social and cultural issues.
Next week we've got Jerry Cohen, who's the New York-based human rights lawyer. And these people come to China and they say, hey, I'd like to stop through Nanjing and visit the center because they know about it.
Asian economies, they save
My
more than
whole
they
academic life is close associated with this program. We can enjoy academic freedom. We can almost have freedom access to the foreign media, new books. So we have more autonomy or more flexibility, I think.
I'm the first research fellow here. I am working on a project, a book project on, it's about the Chinese intellectual life during the Second World War. And I think whoever does the Republican period, Chinese history, I think Nanjing is the place you have to come. Good, great facility, but also we have a group of very fine scholars here.
The students are probably the main reason I've come back. They are so engaging, so charming, and so hardworking. It's fascinating to see the Chinese awakening to the potential for an inquiring mind that challenges all points of view.
On the American side, they're all personalities and there is a variety. The red-headed guy, Micah, who is from Princeton, he just graduated from Princeton, he's thinking of going to law school but insists that he doesn't want to be a lawyer. So we've got musicians, we've got poets, we have athletes, we have people who are very involved in volunteerism and NGO work. So we've got a bunch of terrific ping pong players.
These are some of the best professors in China. If you don't want to rest, you can never rest. Anyone who spends 12 hours a day in here is going to become very good at talking about development economics and game theory in Chinese, but you need to get out and talk to people and see what they're really thinking. One great thing about the center is that it is in Nanjing, which is a great city with a lot going on. I'm playing in a band with Chinese people. That's something I do most nights of the week, just for a couple of hours. It's a good release at the end of the day.
What I like the most is when we have our little mini dance parties. I probably shouldn't tell the rest of the world about those, but we sometimes it gets to be late at night and no one else is looking and we can't help but put on a little funk music and dance away where no one can see us.
Although we are not very good dancers.
But nobody has to know.
There was a commercial for Snickers, a candy bar called, no matter how you slice it, it comes up peanuts. No matter how you slice it now, it comes up China. This is 1/5 to 1/4 of the world's population. If the economy here succeeds, then you've got a market, a huge market. There is opportunity, but the two countries are very different ideologically. We need people who are experienced in negotiation and discussion and debate between U.S. and China. You can disagree, it's okay. But we should at least be able to keep the discussion going. I mean, it's fundamental to any negotiation. This process certainly is going to be one of mutual change. But where do we end up? And again, the students here are the ones who are making those decisions.
Never before have I found that time is so precious. I think that the experience and the professors and the students here will be a treasure in my life. They are the resource I can turn to. We are all sisters and brothers, and I will cherish this as my kind of unforgettable memory.
I think what it comes down to is the relationships that are formed during the center, during the year that you have here. This is a very, very special group of students that come here. Very open-minded, very serious people. I'm going to be having a career that's very engaged with China. And the same is going to be true, I think, of the Chinese students. We're not going to forget each other. We're going to be colleagues, be that in politics or business, what have you. So we're going to be out there dealing with each other on a day-to-day basis, and I think there's going to be a lot better understanding of where we're coming from, having been with each other in the center, working together.
Why don't you show them some of your stuff? That's right. Just go ahead. Just go. Show them some stuff. Whole step, half step, go here. Yeah, and then step.
Yes.
Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step.
Yes. Well, it's too simple. Just the beginning.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, how long have you been playing?
Yes.
A week?